That's my last.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It is just before 2:35, and we are in the final discussion phase of our budget memo. We got about 5 items, I think, plus minus, left to take positions on. And we'll go through the spreadsheets. There is a newer spreadsheet that has been posted on our page under our committee assistant's name. So that is the most current copy that we have to work off of.
Thank you, Nick.
And yeah, this spreadsheet is such an immense help. So with that, Representative Hango has been really the one diligently tracking this. So I will hand the conversation over to her. Representative Hango.
Great, thank you. So we have, since I don't know which version of the spreadsheet everybody is looking at, because there are several different versions, I'm just going to start with what my first one is. Oh, perfect timing.
Can you tell us what page 1 starts with on yours?
Sure, let Rep. Morgan sit down because he's going to be the first person I call on.
Which one you talking about, the radios?
Yeah. So, the page starts with Attorney General's office, ends with military administration. And, we're talking about the Vermont State Police, a $500,000 ask
Mhm.
for Vermont State Police radio equipment replacement special fund.
So what that, I talked with, Representative Feltus on that particular one, and it's a reserve fund that this money is being transferred from, that it collects money over time, and then as needs like this arise, they then transfer it one time, so to speak. And that's what they're doing. And then the fund will continue to build over time. And when they have the need again, they'll ask it again. So it's not like an annual recurring, in other words, if that makes sense.
So right now, they need money to replace radios, is that?
That is correct. So it's a transfer from a general fund to this special fund to do that purchase.
And it does say fund transfer.
Correct.
Any questions from the table on that ask?
Thank you for that clarity, Rep. Morgan. So I guess I'll ask for position of favorable here via thumbs. That is sweeping support.
Support grade this.
So I take it this wasn't on the original spreadsheet?
No, it was.
Mhm.
Right here.
Page 2, bottom.
Page
Oh, I
two,
already had it, all right, it's good. Got it, just-
Um, Sorry, since I'm working on two spreadsheets. Right, next one, Department of Human Resources. We have not learned anything on that. And we kind of have talked about this, that we've asked various individuals to help us out with this. So I think the recommendation is that we take no position if they haven't directly come to us to ask for money. And we have not been able to get any information from Budget Buddies or whomever. So anybody have any comments on that?
Right, because we have no idea what they were asking for.
Right, there is apparently something in the budget that's governor recommended, but we can't find that information.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it touches our committee or not. So-
Representatives, did you have?
What do you think?
I was just going to add that that was one of my one of my jobs, and I haven't heard back from Budget Buddy. There's no item, there's no number, there's nothing. So I think we can just kind of safely do we have to take a position since it's nothing? We can just move on from it, right?
Yeah, well, my recommendation was gonna be no recommendation for the committee to diagnostic on.
Right, because there's nothing to have an opinion about.
We have nothing to have an opinion. on.
Correct.
So
Okay.
is everybody favorable with the opinion? No opinion. Thumbs for no opinion.
My thumb is up.
Your thumb is up. I see your thumb behind the paper. All right, so there's a no position.
So. Going back to, and I really apologize on this one, Common Good Vermont, I thought we knocked that one off. And I see it here on my newest version, which you all may not have. That we didn't take a position, but I thought we had, so I'm looking back at the second backup sheet.
I thought we had said yes to
I
that.
thought we had as well, so
Okay.
let
I'm
me
looking.
just verify.
I have that marked as a yes on my previous sheet.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah, we-
thought, but I wanted to make sure, and I have it as a yes also.
For the total 563, 442.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
good.
think that was my mistake because I didn't transfer it over to the final column and write yes in it, so Nick didn't pick up on that.
Okay.
So my apologies.
But everybody else is recalling a favorable position on that one, I believe.
Yes.
All right.
All right, so we have state's attorneys, SIUs, and sheriffs. Were we trying to find out more information, Rep. Coffin, on that one? Refresh my memory.
Yes, we were, and after I reviewed one more, I actually do recommend it for, we were on hold for that,
Mhm.
the operating expenses. And looking further into it, again, with the victims advocates being added, having the victims advocates and the legal assistance because of the increase in court cases, judicial proceedings, that if we're actually going to process and move the trials along, we need this and the transportation.
Yeah, and for newer members, these conversations they've been having have been going on for years with resource capacity and the need for more tools to do their job appropriately. So I personally definitely find this request agreeable. Any further comment from the committee before I ask for a position via phone? Seeing no hands for comment?
I do. Oh, sorry, I was erasing. Do we have any idea why it wasn't the governor's recommended?
I don't have any information on why it was left out. But as public safety,
It's one.
So asking for thumbs favorable to the request from the Department of State's attorneys and sheriffs. Seeing universal thumbs.
So next on my list, we have Human Rights Commission.
Mhm.
We talked a little bit about that and decided to go back to that. So again, Rep. Coffin, this is your wheelhouse.
right? So on the Human Rights Commission, and I know I questioned a lot of it last week. And so I decided to use the weekend for research. And because our qualifications are so much different, we're actually stricter and we look at more things, more accepting than what federal levels are. That we're losing federal funding and can get less now because we have higher levels of the for what's considered protected. So they need the extra help to fight for people that are being possibly discriminated against because we do offer more protections. And you can look at, I was comparing the federal levels with what we have mandated, we have put into legislation. So I'd say send the ask based on what I looked at this weekend.
So I'm hearing you say that we have very broad language where there are many more people who are protected in the state of Vermont. So therefore, we would need more resources to protect said people.
Yes. And where we're not getting as much funding from the federal government because of the level of protection we offer people that is more and above than the federal, they need the extra that is in there. That's based on having an extra weekend to look it all up.
Rep. Nugent.
Thank you. I guess I'm looking at this and just thinking about what you're saying about the federal funding, and that it's three new positions and concern about whether or not we'll be able to sustain them into future years. And if that's setting them up for capacity issues, it's just been down.
And that one, I don't know. I can look at this year. I don't like the idea of adding more state employees, but I don't like the idea of people not having a legal voice either.
Representative Mark Jones.
I'm with Rep. Coffin on this one. In a shocking turnaround since Friday.
I take the look back seriously, and that's I started doing more research, but I do not like the idea of adding more state positions. I love the idea of creating jobs, but in a free market and not more state employees. But at this point, we need to be able to support the laws we've passed.
Opinion broadly favorable, Representative. Okay, so any other comment from the committee before we call for them? This one, Rep. Pisnell.
Do we know what their workload is?
They did come in and testify to us.
Yes.
And we know the bills we passed.
I think expansive applies.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm a little confused because the governor's already approved them for $1,358,000.
Mhm.
Their ask is $1,700,000. So really, so we're looking at $440,000.
Yes.
And that's those
Three
positions.
plus the vacancies savings.
Right, and they lost $95,000 in federal funding.
And
Yeah,
we
there is
don't-
that piece too.
Yeah.
From the cut from the federal.
And we don't all have to agree,
Yes.
So-
It's a plurality of thoughts.
right?
Right, and I agree with Representative Dugan about, I mean, we set them up for 3 new hires and then what happens next year when we can't fund it?
Sure.
Did I see anything from you, Rep. Morgan, and then Scott?
Just as a thought, since we're struggling with it, it is a Delta 440, as Sandy said. And taking into account what Rep. Nugent also said, perhaps we compromise and split the difference, because I can see Kate's point that we could be setting ourselves up for fail on it budgetarily for out years. I've already seen a need, Neil did this homework, that's great. It adds up, makes sense. But maybe we find some middle ground there and that we recommend that, of course, in the end, appropriations made also.
So what are you framing for the?
Well, if it's 440, make it at 220 to the 1.358, so call it
Okay,
1.58.
Rep. Stone? No, I get where you're saying. And then, yeah.
I vote passed out of here with the full recommend, knowing that appropriations are the ones that hold the calculators. It's like the scope of their committee. So I think saying this on record, they're hearing us, but I would leave it up to them. And then I hear what you're saying about like, well, what about the upcoming years? That's a job for future committees. So it's kind of like when you're debating on the floor, you're not supposed to be talking about future legislation because you don't know what's gonna happen. Who knows? You know, we could end up being the president's favorite state and you could give us billions and billions of dollars for this. I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen, but I'm just saying like, I would.
Any theoretical, I understand what you're
I know what
saying.
he's saying, but like, we just gotta see what's on our plate in front of us now, and I feel comfortable just moving it along, and they can have the conversations and appropriations if they run out of money and need to look under the couch, or not.
Yes. No, I totally understand your point. And that I personally am of the same mindset where for us in this moment, altering the recommendation within the recommendation is really what we're doing. We're just offering a recommendation to this request, right? Like with something like this, it's very complex to the nuance of the request. So, Rep. Hango, that's his.
I was gonna suggest, similar to Mike Morgan, this funding the staff attorney investigator position at 130 and the new paralegal position at 108. And calling that a compromise,
Mhm.
and that's 238,000.
Rep. Pisnell?
With all due respect, if this just gets passed on to appropriations, why are we spending our time doing this?
Because
If they don't take our, I mean, if we're not willing to make some suggestions, and we're just gonna go with all the dollar figures, then why are they asking us for our opinion, I guess, is what I'm saying. I mean, we've spent a lot of time on this, and this is a give and take, if we can't make a suggestion for them that they might be overseeing, then I mean, I think a compromise is a good way. I mean, instead of denying it all and just going back to the governor's request, meet them halfway and tell them which positions we're willing to support. Then, I guess that's.
I could actually get behind the, if we did fund just the attorney, the investigative attorney position and the paralegal position, as Representative Hango suggested. And it falls into that leaving out the director's position, the policy director's position, and just staying with, give them the investigator they need, give them the paralegal position they need. That would still allow them to have a co-counsel if needed, based on their written testimony here. If we compromise, at least we're showing we're trying. We've compromised last year on things. That gives them two of the positions. I actually could get behind that better than my suggestion.
Representative Hango, then Lawrence.
Thank you. So the question was raised, why do we go through this exercise if appropriations is really going to make the decision? They weigh our testimony and our deep dive into policy very heavily when it comes to these types of things, because we know the policy better than they do behind these asks. Sorry. So, that's the answer to that. And yes, we should be thoughtful, but no, we're not rubber stamping everything because we already have some no's and some no positions on our spreadsheet. So we're not just saying yes to everything. The answer to both of those. Thank you.
Representatives?
I'm just really concerned about not supporting housing, defending people against and protecting people against housing discrimination. And I don't feel comfortable personally deciding for the Human Rights Commission which position we find to be the one they need the least. I think if we were to ask to take money away from one position, they should be the ones to choose that position. And also, if we're losing federal funding, we have a housing crisis already. We've been working on legislation, and there's been proposed legislation for a long time about fairness in housing and equality and stuff, but I don't know. This is one of those things where I feel like if the federal government is going to be pursuing removing more money and protection from people in housing, I think it's up to us as the state of Vermont to make sure that we do what we can for those people who are being discriminated against.
And by granting half the request, they can choose where they spend the money, which position they hire. We're not writing out a position then. If the director is more important than an investigator, they can do as they need. It's still more funding than they had.
Cooper.
What's the dollar amount? I do beg your pardon for.
It's $130,000 for each of those positions, so it is 6 of one or half dozen of the other,
Mhm.
as VL just pointed out.
So, and we all don't have to find this favorable. So it doesn't have to be universal in our
So
Rep Hoover.
if I got this correct, it sounds like VL is advocating for granting 2 of the 4 requests, 3. And leave that decision up to whom?
Well, this is a recommend that goes to appropriations.
Oh, no, anyway.
Yeah.
And then leave the, can I?
Yes, Rep. Yep.
Yeah. So to answer the question, it would leave the Human Rights Commission to decide which position they fund.
Hmm.
Where do they apply the funds that they're allocated?
I mean, perhaps because it's like we would be taking, if we did decide to find favorable one position over another, we would be speaking to those positions themselves, not a totality of funds to choose how to allocate.
Correct.
So it's not like a pot of money where it's like do X with it.
Mhm.
They're defined within the task. So we would be making the personnel decision
Okay.
on a recommendation, not the making a recommendation. Rep Hoover.
So if I got it correct, then we can't do that. We would have to,
We would have to enumerate.
by virtue of very certain mathematics, I think that we would not be able to leave it open then, but. I apologize if I've missed this, but have we made no recommendations on very many other dollar figures?
We are in the
Yes.
closing moments of this conversation.
No, I understand.
Have we taken no position?
Yeah.
On a few.
Okay, and do those like, are they similar amounts or is it like, are we nickel and dime?
They were mostly as a result of like a lack of information. We weren't able to get like dollar sums in their details.
This isn't something we really can say, take no position. As this is. Field house.
Oh, I see, okay, that.
And again, we all don't have to agree, right? So Rep Waters Evans.
I was gonna say, I'm happy to call for a thumbs up or thumbs down right now. We're in the middle of a housing crisis, but there are more unhoused people per capita in Vermont than anywhere. I don't think that having inadequate staffing for housing discrimination and helping people with those things is gonna help anybody right now. So I'm supportive of funding the full amount.
Rep Coffin, then Hango.
I'm just, this doesn't increase what's available of housing. This has nothing to do with the housing shortage that we have here in Vermont. This is about making sure that people aren't discriminated against. So giving them the two of the positions that are key to fighting those cases is what it's about. It does nothing to develop housing. They're only just making sure that the housing we have, people aren't being discriminated against getting into. It's equal access to. So I would say the 2 positions, if we're making a compromise, the 2 positions for the investigator and paralegal be, to me, the more important, because that gives them the ability to have a co-counsel if needed, cover caseload.
Okay, Hango Stone pistol.
So I just want to remind everybody about our friends at Vermont Legal Aid who
Mhm.
represent folks for free,
Mhm.
doing this very work. And I think I would like to join Rep. Waters Evans in calling for a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the entire amount. Because I think trying to split the difference isn't going to work with this group of individuals. So we could go on and on for hours.
Correct. Preston.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's not even a question. I grew up in Alabama. In my mother's lifetime, the civil rights movement happened, where I was born and raised. I refuse to sit here, and I know it doesn't create housing, but to be on record saying that we're not supportive of stuff that puts anti-discrimination at the forefront of ensuring that everyone has a right to have a roof over their head. I just want us to like recenter and hear what's coming, unintentional or not, like think unintentional. I didn't move to Vermont to sit by and not vote to support people's right to housing. So yeah, all or nothing, I'm all in, and I'm totally for calling for thumbs.
Rep. Pistol, did you have something?
I was just, do they not have a policy director now? Is this another policy director? Is this like, is this an additional policy director?
If I recall correctly, there's somebody, it's like a dual role where I think they're looking to like have a defined role. Rep. Wood.
Their budget letter states that they have an executive director, but not a policy director.
So the executive director was acting as the policy
Doing
director, more or less, who was doing, that's kind of what I was looking at. Nugent?
I just wanna, I don't know if this is adding to confusion or not, but like, it's, at least as far as, how I feel about this, I want them to be successful and I'm, just looking at that from an organizational management standpoint, that it's kind of hard for your funding to go up and down and to manage positions out, you know, that come and go. So I felt like that was important to clarify, just given where the conversation has been going.
Mhm.
So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna call for a thumbs on the total sum. And any further discussion from folks? Seeing no further discussion, thumbs for total sum. You have a plurality.
Okay. Hey, moving on, we have the Vermont Criminal Justice Council, which is Rep. Morgan. Were you able to find out any?
No, I went, I did a reattack with, Brett Feltus and mission fail on my part, but because I only have, I tried connecting with her late last week and we haven't, the only words I think, and I said in the committee before, is on that one and the one above it for public safety. The words on those, that they were standard and recurring. And that she felt they would be supportable in the budget with ease. But I don't have anything more than that at this point. So if it aligns with what a couple others we looked at, I guess in theory, we'd have to say at this point, no position. I guess my recommendation, if we need more fidelity than that.
Yep.
Since I don't have that, so. Yeah, I will tell you if I fail on something, I failed on it because I don't have anything from it.
So the position is no position.
That's what I'd recommend if that's pretty consistent with others.
So the committee, I'm just gonna call for thumbs to be favorable, no positions on this one. Thank you.
And the same thing on the other one above it.
Which is what?
Public safety, if you above it.
Okay, so that's, yeah, that one, I'm not sure where it is on mine.
Well, yeah,
I
that's.
think we might have, in the latest iteration, gotten rid of that line item.
I was wondering, yeah, I was
Yeah, we
wondering.
did.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it on the newest sheet.
Okay.
Because there was literally no information on that, and it didn't even say what part of public safety we were talking about.
I had written micro grants of $25,000.
No, that's in something else. That is in the,
Okay.
technical rescue micro grant program, and we did talk about that and voted yes on that, but that's okay. So we just heard the Secretary of State asked for $500,000, $450,000 for election support, which they get every year. And $8,000 for the local civic journalism awards. Any discussion on that?
Representatives.
I'm fully supportive. I was glad to hear they withdrew the request for $650,000 that they had originally asked for. And I'm very, very super extra supportive of the Civic Journalism Awards.
Do you have anything to say?
So,
I would have been a flat no had the 650 stayed in, but I'm okay with the $500,000 request.
plus elections. Okay, any other comment from the committee before I call for a favorable vote? Right, favorable vote. That is plurality in favor.
Okay. Let me just run through one more thing because I think we only have one left, but I want to be certain. Before we move on, for people who weren't listening earlier during the break, one of the breaks, we have no information on the Pay Act because it hasn't been negotiated yet with one of the unions. So we cannot act on the Pay Act recommendation. And the last one left is the Vermont Ethics Commission, which we said we would come back to. And we left it at, I had made an offer to split the difference, but hearing the conversation around the table again today, I'm going to withdraw that offer and ask just to have a thumbs up or a thumbs down on the total budget, which is,
351.
yes, above the governor's recommendation. So they're asking for $351,382 above.
Mhm.
Well, that's the inequality.
Yes, and so that, yes, a favorable thumb would be for the total sum of. Any other conversation? Thumbs for the total sum. You have favorable, you have a plurality of thumbs. Total sum.
Thank you all for your very hard work. And hopefully next year this won't be as painful because they know they're all our jurisdiction wise.
Representatives.
I wanted to thank Rep. Hengel for all her organization and hard work on this. That was no easy task to wrangle, not only everybody, the numbers, but the committee members. Thank
You
you.
are welcome, but our big thanks go to our committee assistant, Nick, because he built every single one of these spreadsheets.
Wow.
You all know I know spreadsheets.
That was a rather large number of spreadsheets.
Thank you.
Yeah, no. And spreadsheeting and stuff, also the tracking realm and stuff has been very, very good organized tool.
So what's the next step is to write the letter.
So we are submitting this, I spoke to appropriations, we are submitting the spreadsheet. Just reorganized with these final positions, non-positions, et cetera. And then we're just gonna send it with an attachment with a letterhead,
We've got one built already.
just referencing to the spreadsheet.
Yep.
But the spreadsheet is how we're really gonna engage our information with it.
I'll tell you what it says currently. Just a nice letterhead to House Appropriations from House Government Operations and Military Affairs, the date, Subject Committee Budget Memo, House Government Operations and Military Affairs respectfully submits this spreadsheet listing the areas of the FY 27 budget in order of those requests that we support, those we don't support, and those we are taking no position on. Sound good?
Yeah, and I think like then it's just like the spreadsheet speaks for itself and us.
And I do want Nick to know this, other committees have asked to see the spreadsheet. Because they've heard about it. They're very excited.
But the buzz around the building, yeah.
Part-time job, if maybe they could have raised the already part of the payoff.
We all are. Yeah, we can put a spreadsheet variable in there. Rep Hooper, did you have a question?
Yeah, so we just on a partisan basis voted out a non-existent budget letter, is that correct? Like current, and then we're just gonna signal like a partisan disagreement in agreement, is that right?
I'm not sure what you're referencing. We're sending this whole spreadsheet.
Yes, and we,
Because there's no.
You're gonna have the
vote for
plurality
it.
of thumbs for partisan.
so is that an official vote or is it just this?
Yes.
Well, it's a straw poll and a recommendation. It's not a
Yeah.
formal vote.
Nobody's recorded who voted yes, who voted.
So like,
What the numbers.
I guess.
No, good work, everyone. The budget memo in this committee is always a big lift because we intersect with so many aspects of government. So I really appreciate everybody's help on their individual projects, and we already said a big kudos to Nick for helping organize this and also Representative Pango for being convenient. So I just want to close with like my personal gratitude and just happiness with what we've been able to put together for this request, and getting it wrapped up today was something that was very, very, very high on my punch list. So also thank you for helping achieve that goal for our timeline this week. So we all have some stuff because we've got so many bills in motion right now. So let's utilize the last like 45 minutes or so of our working day to anchor into our individual projects. And we will be getting this down to appropriations and for time. So thank you, committee.